Hello there, Mark here. Welcome to Tubular Worlds. It's a game produced in 1994 by Creative Game Design and it was published by Dongleware, both on Amiga and MS-DOS. I actually take a look at both versions. Okay, so what is the premise of this game? The game is a fast-paced horizontal shooter. You play the role of a cadet. The cadet has enrolled into an academy of extreme fighter pilots. You're on the brink of passing your final exam and you have to fly through four virtual worlds. Of course, these 4 virtual worlds are the 4 levels that you will find in this game. At the end of each level, you'll have a warlord, an end boss that you have to combat. Okay, so, you know, the story isn't the best part about this shooter, like many other shooters. It's not the best shooter. It's certainly not the best shooter on MS-DOS or Amiga. There's a ton more that are even better, like Tyrion, for example. The thing is, it's hard as nails. It really is very hard. And you really have to get to know the levels in order not to get killed. I'm trying to show off my skills here. They're quite rusty. I have finished this game both in the Amiga version and on the Commodore and the MS-DOS version. I am nowhere near to finishing any of this game, but I just wanted to show you both versions to see how the music and the visuals compare. Funny thing is that the graphics are very, very similar. Only the line with the scoring on the MS-DOS version it's below, and on the Amiga version it's on top of the screen. Okay, something that I do not show here is the 2-player mode. It's an excellent mode where both players can defend each other. You're less susceptible to dying and having to repeat the game, the levels all over again. Really fun. Yeah, probably best done if you both use a joystick or a gamepad to control the player, the spaceship. It is actually possible to control the ship with the mouse. Now, on the MS-DOS version, I opted to play with the mouse, and on the Amiga gameplay, I'll use the Competition Pro joystick, just to show off a bit of the differences. And there are certain advantages of using the mouse instead of the joystick. Let's go take a look at the MS-DOS version first. Okay, so here we are with the MS-DOS version, and we'll have the nice title pixel graphics slowly scroll down, and let's select one player. The music is actually quite interesting in this game, and I quite like the Soundblaster ad-lib type gameplay. We'll just not show you the entire intro sequence because that is actually quite elaborate. You're a space cadet going through your final exam routines, basically having to fly through 4 worlds, 4 levels, and the Cyberlink information system actually keeps track of your scores. Here's actually only 3 worlds are shown. Not sure why that is, because there's actually 4 worlds. So let's go check it out. I'm using the mouse, and that allows you to accelerate and decelerate quite quickly. As you can see, I just zoom across the screen quite quickly. Now it is obvious that you need to time your power-ups, and the green shot is actually a bit more powerful than the shot that I picked up later. There's also vertical shots that you can pick up, basically get all the extras and destroy all the spaceships that come your way without getting killed like I do right now. There's a lot of turrets, gun turrets, that try to destroy you, and basically what you see here is what happens if you're not very familiar with the levels. You just end up dying and progressing, dying, retrying, dying, and retrying and progressing bit by bit before actually getting somewhere in this game. Level ups player-ups, you actually get extra lives, extra speed, yeah, what I really like about this game is the embossed graphics, the music, and it's not the best shooter out there, but it certainly is quite a nifty shooter. I mean, it's one of the better shooters on the Commodore, on the MS-DOS system. Yeah, I've been playing a ton of Commodore 64, so I just missed that extra. I tend to lapse into calling out the Commodore 64, even when it's not called for. Let's see if I can progress a bit further. There's turrets on little bits of rail, and yeah, basically you shoot the turrets on either side of the screen. What also gets you killed quite often is blasts that are fired off. Oh, yeah, like one of the blasts. I mentioned the blast and I just got blasted. Yeah, game over. I think it's time to check out the Amiga version, but let's take a listen. Let's listen to this, and now switch over to the Amiga version. Welcome to the Amiga version. The title screen is very similar to the MS-DOS version, and sorry for the somewhat squished screen. The title, yeah, and I have to severely speed up the loading times because I'm running this on an ECS Amiga. At least it's the ECS Amiga version. I'm running this on the Amiga 1200. The soundtrack and the sounds are quite different, and the visuals are the colors are just a tad different from the MS-DOS version. I'm using a joystick here, so the spaceship just moves across the screen in a more gentle way. The mouse control, I must say, I prefer if I compare both versions of the game. I think mouse control is actually more precise, and you'll actually advance further in the game. But it is easy to overshoot. Now, the gameplay is pretty much identical. Perhaps the pacing of the game is a tad slower. This is a PAL Amiga that I'm running it on. I of course should also check out the game in NTSC, but as this was developed in Germany on a PAL unit, probably playing this game at PAL speed more or less is the speed that the developers intended to. Oops, and I die from the same type of crossfire as I did in the MS-DOS version. Loading times, of course, they are more elaborate on the Amiga. It is actually possible to convert the 2 game discs that it comes on to WHD load. You can actually download a version, an installer that installs it on a hard drive or a compact flash that basically transcodes the files on the 2 floppies with some configuration and loader files, so that it will work on any Amiga capable of a hard drive with an original or enhanced chipset or above, and that significantly reduces loading times, because the loading times from the floppy disk, they are atrocious. They can take up to 20, 30, 45 seconds. So waiting about a minute for a game to load, that's not something that developers will get away with these days. Although downloading 25 gigabytes in order to be able to actually play a game is more or less the norm. I think loading games in from floppy disk or tape, we used to moan and groan about it in the past, but for some reason it's actually not that bad compared to these days, if you see how large the updates are. Now, I do manage to sort of circumvent the crossfire here. Hopefully I'm able to advance a bit further. Whoops, yeah, of course, I mentioned the crossfire and instantly I get killed. This is nowhere near the end of the first level. Yeah, I cannot say that I'm able to show a lot of the screens, but I'm not sure actually if it is actually necessary to show you, to get a bit of a feel about the game. I think it's all about, you know, playing, testing out, progressing further, dying and retrying. That's what the game is all about. Single player mode like this can be quite repetitive because you really have to get to know the levels. If you play this in two-player mode, you're less likely to die because both players can protect each other. You basically fly around the same screen, and you will be able to progress a bit further and get more of a sense of progression if you do two-player mode. Whoops, sorry about that. Getting the hiccups here. But yeah, you can see that it basically is the exact same game, and it's actually quite funny to see how a game on both MS-DOS and Amiga can be so extremely similar, because the two architectures are quite different. But yeah, quite a capable games machine, the Amiga. I believe this is game over for me. Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you like this comparison of both the MS-DOS and the Amiga versions, and I'll see you in another video!